Welcome to another episode of the Bamature Hour. I'm Bama John. We have Will K with us. This is the Upon Further Review episode where we go back over the Bama win over Wisconsin 38-14. This is step two in the 10 steps that Bama must take if they want to make the playoffs. Bama still has it all out there to achieve. We're going to talk about the other teams that we're competing against. To get in there, we're going to relook at the schedule a little bit, but first we're going to take a further deep dive into the game itself. We're going to get Will K's insights, his take on the game. And by the way, today is Sunday, September 14th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. We have over 4,200 subscribers to the YouTube channel and still growing. Thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning in. And if you're listening to us on our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the notify button. If you're accessing us on the other podcast channels such as Apple, iHeart, Spotify, and the like, please follow, like, subscribe wherever you access our content. All right, Will K, give me your thoughts. What do you think about this game? Given that we needed to get the win, what are your initial thoughts on the game? And since we hadn't talked since the big win.
Looked good once again. Ryan Williams got back into the action, scored 2 touchdowns, could have scored three. He dropped one. But the pass rush looked better, got 4 sacks, I believe. Once again, I don't know how good an opponent it was, but it was a Power Five Big Ten school. I'm sure they have, a few 4 stars. They've got a few good people, but the real test will be in 2 weeks against Georgia, but Ty Simpson once again looks really good. So I like the direction we're headed in.
What about the coaching? Any thoughts on the coaching and how well they prepared, the game plan, and the
Yeah, that,
like?
that all looks good. Ty Simpson only missed like 5 throws, nearly 400 yards. Got Ryan Williams back on the outside and utilized Germie again. So yeah, it looked good.
Uh, couple of things that I was going to throw out there. The receiver who caught the touchdown pass, I think he was the same guy that ran back the kickoff. That was an Ohio State recruit originally, and he looked like a big time receiver. Louisiana Monroe didn't have any player of that caliber. That guy was really good. Also, they had T.Y. Hilton's kid playing as well, but they didn't really get him the ball much. But that one player, Anthony, he's good. He's a legit player. I thought along the defensive line they had some strong guys that were giving our line some trouble. We certainly handled them overall. So I think it was a step up in competition. I like that fact, but certainly they're not the high caliber opponent that we're going to see over the next 10 to 11 weeks if we want to make the playoffs. But hey, we handled them. We did what we needed to do. Big win in my book, and I'm satisfied. I like the way we've played the last 2 weeks. If our win over Louisiana Monroe was an A plus, I'd call this an A minus game. I think overall it was an A minus performance. From my standpoint, what would you grade it?
I'd probably just go with an A
Okay.
above an A minus because I mean I wouldn't say that the touchdowns were fluky in any aspect, but I mean one of them was a kickoff return, one of them was later in the game, kind of eh. Um, but they didn't have any like long drives where they just ran it down our throats and then they'd score. But and then Ryan Williams dropped a touchdown, could have made the score look a little bit better. So I'll give it an A.
Yeah, Ryan dropped that pass over the middle, and again, going over the middle, looks a little scared. I think he's worried, and it was almost like he was seeing ghosts because there really wasn't anybody that was going to lay the hat on him. And then when Lotzier Brooks dropped that ball as well, and I really like Brooks overall. I'm really happy that they used him. I thought he made some great plays, and our receivers were fantastic. What was your take on the run pass mix and the use of the passing game? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was good. A lot more passing. Ty Simpson. I mean, they're just trying to get him, a lot more confidence. It looks like he has it. He threw 24 balls for 382 yards and 4 touchdowns. Um, so we get Jan Miller back against Georgia, I think. So I think maybe we'll run the ball a little bit more against Georgia.
So one thing that I thought that was important to note is how much Wisconsin put 7 men and 8 men in the box. So I thought throwing the ball was very effective, and the use of the short intermediate passing game was the right strategy because they were putting guys in the box and they weren't going to let us run the ball. So to Wisconsin's credit, I thought their run defense was very effective, but they had to put 7 and 8 guys in the box, and I thought the right thing to do in lieu being able to run the ball was to throw those short intermediate passes, which I thought we used very, very effectively. Any thoughts, comments on that in terms of why we were pass heavy?
Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it just seemed to work, and um, just getting Ty more confident with his throws and making sure that he can establish a connection with the receivers.
And he was great. I mean, Ty's been great both weeks. And I thought he was, he and Germie to me were the two best players against FSU. And we're not going to relitigate that much. But I think Ty's been, he was effective against Florida State. You can't lay that loss at his feet. He didn't turn the ball over. And then he's been great the last 2 weeks. It's nice to have Ryan Williams show out. And then Germie Bernard, he is our steady Eddie guy that you can count on week in and week out. Had 4 catches for 62 yards, 1 TD pass, and then he had that 1 run on that quick little reverse to the pylon. So once again, he's having a great season. To me, he's our MVP player right now, and with Ty Simpson right behind him. Thoughts on any other offensive players, also about Germie, and what happened on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think Jeremy's a stud. He could be a Bolitnikov winner, sleeper. Um, I still don't think that there's a running back that's established himself. Richard Young looks kind of slow. I think that Jam Miller will help with that when he comes back. But Kevin Riley's been the best so far, but I would like to see more from the run game.
Yeah, and Kevin Riley wasn't effective running the ball in this game. He had some nice pass plays, and he helped out in the short pass, and he had that nice catch where Ryan hit him for like 20 something yards, and he took a big stick when he caught that, but he caught the ball. So I really liked what we saw there. But overall, just the run game wasn't featured. It wasn't effective, but we didn't need to do it, to your point. All right, let's look at the defensive side of the ball. Thoughts on the defense, thoughts on standouts. What'd you think?
Bray Hubbard looked better. He took that first game personally, had 2 interceptions. He laid the wood a few times on a running back coming through the hole. Um, got a lot more pressure. We got a few sacks. I think Tim Keenan coming back will help a lot in the run game and getting more pressure. So they look better.
And the sacks, you noted that we got 4 sacks. So LT had a sack.
3 in the
And
first quarter.
yeah, and then Yhonzae Pierre, note that name. He may be the edge rusher that we're looking for. The next guy that may be able to do what Will Anderson was able to do, what a Jihad Campbell was able to do. I was really happy to see him in there because we've got to establish a speed rush, edge rusher to get in there. Quay Russaw had a sack. London Simmons played very well. I was really impressed with London Simmons.
Yeah.
Thought he was good. So it was nice to get some sacks where we've really struggled on that. Thoughts on Simmons, thoughts on the line play.
Yeah, I mean, it looked a lot better. But I know we've beaten this dead horse, but inferior competition, we'll really see what we got against Georgia. If we can win that game, then I'll feel a lot better.
Well, I think it was 2 really good tune-up games to get us where we need to go. The coaches stepped up, had them coached up, and when you
I think
play the
it's
way
on the
we
road again.
yeah, no, it is on the road. I mean, this is it. This is the step that we've got to show is that we can go into Athens and that a Kalen DeBoer team can win a big road game in the SEC.
And not only because last year we went to Vanderbilt and lost, and Vanderbilt might look better than they did last year.
All right,
Don't
hey,
like
don't
Vanderbilt.
jump there yet. We're gonna get
I'm
to
just
Vanderbilt.
saying.
Yeah,
that
I know, I know.
even if the
Just hold
Georgia
on.
game
We're
goes
gonna
our
get to
way.
Vanderbilt. We're gonna get to Vanderbilt, but let's stick to this game in Georgia for the moment and have a little suspense as we jump into the other SEC teams and other teams on our schedule. But DeBoer's got to prove it. DeBoer's got to win 3 of those 4 SEC road games, and he's got to hold serve at home. I mean, he's got to beat all those teams that are coming here. He's undefeated at home, and he's got to stay that way. And then we got to win 3 or 4 if we're going to make the
Gotta,
playoffs.
the way this year's played out so far, we got some tough home games. We just got a tough schedule
We do.
the whole way. I
Yeah.
mean, at the beginning of the year, some of the games were looking like but like all the teams on our schedule look really good. So, I mean, to get through all that, I mean, that would be really impressive if we can beat everybody, but we'll see.
I think we got to win 8 of 9.
Like
That's
so
my
like this year,
focus.
like coming in, I didn't think Tennessee was going to be this good. Tennessee looks great, even though they lost to Georgia. But
Well, and to that fact, is Tennessee really that good? Is Georgia really
I
that
think
good? What was that 2 top level teams playing each other, or are they just good teams? Are they
I
great
mean, if
teams
you
or good?
watch that game, obviously both of those teams have talent.
Yeah.
They both scored on the first 3 possessions. They just score, just go down there and score,
Well,
score, score.
Tennessee did right. They jumped up 21-7.
And then Georgia scored, and then Tennessee scored again, and then Tennessee went up 21-7, and then Georgia came back.
And really, Tennessee should have hit that field goal to win the game. So Georgia should have taken a loss.
Mhm.
But do you think their receivers are better than ours? Do you
No.
think their quarterback is better than Ty Simpson? Aguilar's pretty good. I'll take Ty over Gunner. I think I'd take Ty over Aguilar, although he's good. I will take our receiver room over both of their receiver rooms. Now, I'm not sure on the running backs, and I'm not sure on our offensive line versus their offensive lines, yet to be determined. Um, but I think we can hang with them. And I like the development of the defense and part of the. So I think we can play and beat both of these teams. Will we? We're going to find out. Can Kalen DeBoer, can Ryan Grubb, can Kane Womack come up with the schemes, make the adjustments, coach them up, and we win these big games? We're going to find out. But I still think we're highly talented. We get an F for FSU. We've rebounded. We've got some confidence. We've won 2 games, and now we got a dogfight coming up.
Yep.
So, and again, is because after the LSU Clemson game, I'm like, LSU's really, really good. Now I'm not so sure because
Yeah.
Clemson's not that good. And so that's one of the things that I want to see is we're going to have to go into Athens and prove that we can beat them. And maybe Tennessee and Georgia are good but not great, or maybe they're both great. We're going to find out. I'm glad we have Tennessee here. I wouldn't want to go play that Tennessee team there. And Georgia's going to be tough, and Georgia's going to run the ball a lot. So our rush defense, our running defense, the alignments, we'll get eaten up if we're sitting in a 4-2-5 a lot. They'll gash us for 3 to 10 yards per play. We're going to have to put 7 and 8 men in the box and then be ready to deal with Branch particularly. But it's going to be an exciting matchup. All right, let's jump back into the Wisconsin game real quick. Couple of stats that I wanted to throw out and just get you to comment on. Bama had 454 yards to Wisconsin's 209. Bama only had 72 yards rushing, 92 for Wisconsin. I love this. No turnovers for Bama. We got 2 turnovers out of Wisconsin. Penalties, Wisconsin had 6 penalties for 65 yards. Bama had 7 penalties for
Ah,
57.
thought
And
we were going to do it.
well, we had less penalty yardage, but we had more penalties. And then time of possession, Wisconsin had the ball 31 minutes. We had it 29 minutes. So they had the ball a little bit more than we did. But I think some of that was because we were passing the ball so much, it didn't eat the clock as much. But, thought about those team stats and any comments on that?
No, that sounds about right. They had more return yards than we did.
Yeah, we did, and I had it noted as an area of concern, giving up that touchdown on a kickoff. We cannot do that in these big games. You
Mm.
cannot give up those special teams plays, um, and just give somebody a free TD. And when I was watching that game, Will, when he ran that back, I'm like, "Dadgummit, there goes the shutout." I was so excited to try to shut him out, and then there's like, there it goes. So, areas of concern to me are, giving up special teams, giving up that TD. We just can't do that. Lack of production in the run game. That's still concerning. I understand why we used that short intermediate passing game, and I think it really was due to the alignment and the way Wisconsin put 7 and 8 men in the box. Too many penalties. And then the one other thing that I didn't like was when we got burned on that wheel route. Do you remember the wheel route that they threw? And they got a nice play out of it. They did. I don't think they ended up scoring, but again, we've seen FSU and South Carolina burn us on that wheel route to the running back. We've got to be ready for it. We didn't let it go for a touchdown. We didn't let it go where they got it down to the 10-yard line. But again, we've got burned on that. So a couple of thoughts I had. What are your areas of concern? Any thoughts on that coming out of the Wisconsin game?
Yeah, just the run game. Can't let them get 4 or 5 yards every time. Keep them to three. Um, I think that Tim Cannon will help with that, obviously. So I think we get 2 weeks. Does Georgia play this week?
They've got a bye as well.
Okay.
Yep.
No,
So,
well, we still get 2 weeks to prepare. Caleb Moore seems to have his team ready for big games. I don't know if we've had a big road game yet, though.
well, we did.
We
I
beat
mean,
LSU last year,
LSU, yeah.
but one of this magnitude. Um,
Well, quite honestly, the Oklahoma game should have been a big road game because we had to win that game if we wanted to go to the playoffs. And the fact that we weren't ready for that, I give the whole coaching staff an F from
I
that
think
game.
this is where game day will be.
Yeah, it's got to be, don't you think?
Well, Oregon and Penn State play.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's going to be there. Yeah. SEC game day will be in Athens, and probably main game day will be Oregon, Penn State. So I think you're
Yeah.
right.
But still a big game. Not as big as I thought it would be. If we'd be Florida State, this would be a top 10, maybe top five matchup. But I digress.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So I noticed you hadn't talked about the double reverse flea flicker screen pass to Ryan Williams. I love that play. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he just had a convoy in front of him, and he just, had to follow the blocks and score.
And I love the fact, I don't know what your thought were, but when they did the flea flicker, I expected Ty to throw deep on that. And I think all their team was expecting it to go deep, and so they were looking at our deep receivers and that screen. It was like, that's a great play, and that gives Georgia a lot to think about. So I thought that was really cool, really good. All right, any other thoughts about the Wisconsin game that we should talk about before we jump into the rest of the Bama schedule? Kind of
Uh,
how those teams are doing, what the outlook is for those teams, given that we've now had 4 weeks of football. Any other thoughts?
I don't think so.
All right, we've talked about Georgia, huge game, and we're going to find out how good is. I don't think this Georgia is as good as the Georgia teams that won the two natties, and
No.
I don't think this Georgia team is as good as the one that we beat with Carson Beck when we went to the playoffs and they had to sit out. So, but I do think it's a good Georgia team. They always have talent. They're good. Um, I'm not sure they're better than they were last year. I'm probably a little healthier, um, but I think we can beat them. Will we? I don't know. I don't have confidence in DeBoer on the road. He's going to have to earn that from me. I'm going to be skeptical. But, thoughts about this Georgia team. Are they a top five team in the nation? Are they a top 10 team? What do you think?
Well, I'll give it to them. They came back and beat a top 15 team on the road down 2 touchdowns. Um, but they are very beatable. It's not like some, juggernaut. It's not like Thanos with all the stones or whatever. They're beatable. But they're at home. but Alabama seems to have Georgia's number, so I like our chances.
I do too. I think it's winnable. All right, next game, Vandy. You jumped the gun on Vandy, but Vandy's a scary team.
Yeah, they might look better than they were last year, actually. They went in. I know Sellers got hurt, but he wasn't doing much when he was out there either. I mean, they went in there and whooped South Carolina.
They did, and I think they would have beat him even if Sellers hadn't gotten knocked out of the game. Uh,
Now we do have them at home, but Pavia and Clark Lee are doing something over there.
no, they're good. And the question is, how good is this? 8-4, 7-5 Vandy team, or are they a team that can contend for going 10-2 and making the playoffs? And that's what we're going to find out. We're going to, because Vandy plays two cupcakes before they come here, so they're not going to be tested between South. And they went and killed Virginia. By the way, did you see Virginia Tech fired their coach?
They lost to Old Dominion pretty badly.
Yeah. So, how good is South Carolina? South Carolina's not as good as they were last year. So kudos to Vanderbilt going to South Carolina and winning. But I don't think South Carolina is as good a team as they were last year when they could have made the playoffs and they should have beaten Alabama here. So I think South Carolina's defense is not as good as it was last year. And, I'm not sure their line's that great. Vandy owned them pretty good. So I think Vandy's better than they were last year. But is Vandy as good as us? I don't think so, but we're going to find out.
No, not from a talent perspective at all. They'll never be, but they don't have to be. The schematics that they run are something that we've always had trouble with, and that is a very losable game. It might be, depending on if we beat Georgia, how other teams do, how Vanderbilt does, that might be a top 15 matchup.
Well, Vanderbilt's going to come in here undefeated.
Yeah, and
If we
right
beat
now,
Georgia, then we'll be a one loss against an undefeated Vandy team, and they'll get all this hype, and that could be game day potentially.
I think it'll be a top 15 matchup. What's Vanderbilt in the new poll? Are they in the top 25 now?
I haven't seen the release polls, but they got to be. I mean, going to South Carolina and winning, it's got to put them up there. So that's an interesting game, and to me, it shows me that South Carolina's not as good as we thought they might be, and Vanderbilt's better than I thought they might be. They've taken another step, but again, we have them here. I think we're going to beat them, but we've got to learn those lessons from FSU, and we got to be able to handle all that eye candy, all the options, everything they do to confuse you. And hopefully Kane Womack's up for the task this time, because he's really failed at it multiple times. Missouri's good. They're undefeated. Thoughts about that Missouri away game?
Yeah, another tough one. All of our games are going to be really, really tough. So we'll see. Auburn, got to play Tennessee, got to play Oklahoma, got to play Georgia, LSU, a lot of top 25 teams.
So Missouri gets South Carolina this week. I don't think Sellers will play, but we'll see. That's going to tell us, well, I don't know, because it depends on how bad is South Carolina. Maybe South Carolina is being exposed right now, and Missouri does have a weak schedule. So it's going to be interesting after we play Georgia, Vandy, to have to go to Missouri. That was one of those trap games where I felt it's a trap game. I think Missouri, Drinkowitz is a good coach. I think they've got a good roster. They brought in but they struggled with Kansas. And Kansas had a chance to beat them until they
I think Kansas is pretty good, though.
I think they're good, but I don't think they're great. I don't think Kansas is going to make the playoffs. I don't think they are. I think Texas Tech is the likely team to come out of that conference. But because Arizona State got whooped by Mississippi State, so I think they're down. So I think Texas Tech went out and bought them a good roster. But again, we'll see how it proves out. But Missouri's going to be a tough game. Then after that, we get Tennessee at home. We'll know a lot more about how we match up against Tennessee after we play Georgia.
Yep.
I think that'll tell us a lot. Aguilar's a dual threat quarterback. He's clearly got an arm. He's got good receivers. I think their defense Georgia gashed them there at the end with the run game.
Hmm.
So I think we can put up points on Tennessee's defense, but that's going to be another tough game. I'm glad we got them at home. I wouldn't want to go to Knoxville and play them.
Nope.
South Carolina, I think they're not that good. I think
Yeah.
they're middle of the pack, mediocre. We'll find out when they go to Missouri, but I was really worried about having to play there. I think we're going to get that one done. Then after that, we've got LSU at home. Thoughts on LSU?
I think they're a little overrated.
I agree. When they beat Clemson, I'm like, wow, they went to Clemson and won, and I thought Clemson was really good. And then I
Clemson
watched,
sucks.
yeah, and then I watched Clemson against Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech beats them. And then I watch LSU get 5 interceptions against Florida, and they only beat them by 10 points. I'm
Yeah.
like,
At
so
home.
yeah. So I like our chances against LSU here. I think we should win that. I also like the fact that Nussmeier is not a mobile quarterback. He's not a dual threat quarterback. I think we
Nope.
can get after him.
Nope.
So I'm hopeful that, and we're better than Florida. Let's face it, Florida's got some talent, something going on with that team. But to me, LSU, even though they're undefeated, they're not that great. I think they're going to end up not being at the top of the SEC. I made these words, but I agree with you. I think they're overrated. Okay, let's talk about Oklahoma coming in after that.
That'll be tough. They're good.
Well, and let's see how they do the next 4 or 5 weeks before
Play
we
Auburn
play
next
them.
week. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, but it's at Oklahoma, correct? Auburn goes to Oklahoma.
I'm not sure.
Pretty sure it's at Oklahoma. So that will be really interesting. And then our last game's Auburn. So we're going to find out a lot about both of those two teams. We may have a different point of view on one or both of these teams after they mix it up. So I'm going to watch that very carefully. Um, and Auburn's still undefeated. Have they played anybody? Do we give them credit?
Baylor's okay. They have a good
Yeah,
offense, but they're okay.
yeah. So we'll find out a lot. That game will be telling as to how that happens. So I want to talk about some teams that I have said have taken a tumble and look questionable. Number one, we talked about Clemson. I think Clemson's not going to make the playoffs. I think they're overrated. I think Florida State and Miami are going to beat them. I think Clemson's in trouble.
Yep,
Thoughts?
absolutely. They look bad against Troy too.
Yeah, I think Dabo's in trouble. I think Dabo, for whatever reason, this team is not gelling. Now, granted, both losses were by one score, but
I mean, if
it,
you're a national championship caliber team, you can't be doing that.
well, and I think if they want to make the playoffs as well, and I just think Miami and Florida State are better than they are, and even if they somehow get into the ACC championship game, they're going to get beaten by them. And guess what? North Carolina's now on a win streak. Now they hadn't beaten anybody, but what if North Carolina gives Clemson and Bill Belichick gets his team better, and we
Yeah.
give Clemson a loss? So I'm pulling for that. Do I really think North Carolina's that good? No. But we know that Belichick coaches his teams and his histories, they get better over the course of the season. So I think by the time we get to Clemson, we'll be getting close to the peak of however good North Carolina can be this year, given our talent. So it's going to be fun to see that. How about Notre Dame?
Yeah, they're in trouble too. They haven't won a game yet.
0-2, and you know who the best team left on their schedule is?
USC.
USC, yeah. And if they lose to USC, they're definitely done.
I think they're already done.
I think they are too. The only way they're not done is if you end up with a lot of teams taking 2 and 3 losses, and there aren't any undefeated teams, and there's maybe only 1 or 2 one-loss teams. Somehow they could backdoor in. But if they lose a third one, they're done. Or here would be their best scenario. USC comes in undefeated somehow, and then they beat them. and they get a quality win, but I don't think USC's that good. So I think Notre Dame's done. I'm with you. I think they're done. How about Texas? Thoughts on Texas?
They're overrated. They're going to lose a few games.
I agree. They may miss the playoffs. I think their offensive line is struggling. Um, and I also think that Arch is struggling, and I don't think they have the weapons. I don't think they have the receivers as well. So I think Texas may miss the playoffs. We'll see how if Arch gets better and can rally him because they still only have one loss. But I
Yeah.
want to talk about Texas. Florida's in the tank. I
Yeah.
don't think Florida can pull out of the nosedive. What do you think about Ole Miss?
I mean, they beat Arkansas by 6, and they barely beat Kentucky. Um, they're okay, but they're not going to make the playoff. They'll probably lose 3 games.
I think they may lose 4 games, but yes, I'm with you. I don't think they're making the playoffs.
Who do they play? I know they A&M, Georgia.
Hey,
Some,
A&M's tough.
yeah.
They've and don't count out some of those. So let's talk about what I want to call the teams that are rising up. FSU, are they the real deal? They're going to make the playoffs?
Um, I could see them doing either or. I could see them, having some, hype after beating Alabama, but then they run into like Miami, Georgia Tech. They lose 3 games, but they could also win them. So, I mean, I think that they're obviously much better than they were last year. Already have the same amount of wins as they did last year. They're much, much better, but and they beat Alabama, of course, but we'll see. They still have to play Miami. Um, but I think they'll make the playoff.
So I think two of these three teams are going to make the playoffs. Florida State, Miami, Georgia Tech. I think two of those three teams are going to make the playoffs.
Probably Miami and Florida State.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. But God, Georgia Tech, big win, big win, and
Yep.
and, and they play a tough style. So I'm going to be I'm watching it, and it's kind of hard to think that two ACC teams may make the playoffs, but they may. Because I think Miami's really good. I think Florida State's really good. And I think Georgia Tech is a tough out as well. And I think I put Clemson below those three teams. And the rest of the ACC is mediocre at best. So, all right,
Yeah.
Texas Tech. Do you know much about them? If you watch them, I haven't
No, I
watched
haven't
them
really
much.
watched a lot of Texas Tech actually, so I'm not going to comment on them.
I think they're rising up. They're undefeated. I think they may be the best team in the Big 12, but I'll watch and let it play out. How about Texas A&M? Are you impressed by them? You think they're a playoff potential team?
Potentially, I mean the RCC they got a lot of hard games. They got to play Texas. They got to play Auburn, Ole Miss. I'm not sure who else they play. Do they play LSU?
I think so, but I just think they have a tough schedule. I think
Yeah, I think that I don't see them making the playoff. They'll probably lose 3 games.
right now I'd say they're in contention, but I want to see one or two other tough games against. I want to see
Mhm.
how they do against Texas, see how they do against some of these other marquee teams in the SEC. But pretty impressive win over Notre Dame, and I still think Notre Dame's got a good roster. I think Notre Dame would do well in most any conference you stick them in, but their schedule's so weak they're going to get punished.
Mhm.
And they lost both of those games by one score, and particularly if Miami and Texas A&M both make the playoffs, it's going to be a bitter pill for them to swallow. But they should schedule better. They should play tougher teams. Oklahoma, what's your thoughts there?
Oklahoma's very good. They could definitely make the playoff. John Mateer, Heisman contender. He's really good. He's going to give teams fits.
And they've got other weapons.
Yeah, and they got a good defense with Brent Venables. They could definitely make the playoff.
Yeah, they could definitely win the SEC and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
South Florida.
I think they're, one of those Cinderella teams. They beat a not very good Florida team, then they go play Miami and get trounced. Um, I don't think they're gonna make the playoff.
So one of those group of five teams, you think Tulane likely team to do it? Who you think is going
Yeah,
to make it?
probably.
Okay. And then the other three teams I wanted to talk about, Ohio State. What do you think about them?
So far, so good. Um, Beat Texas. Um, that I don't know when they play Penn State. I think they play Oregon, so we'll see.
Those are their tough games,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
but
and the Big Ten, you just got to focus on those, big heavyweight games at the top, and because the middle and bottom of the Big Ten is not very good.
I agree. So to me, that Texas win doesn't look as good as it did initially, because we're not sure Texas is that great,
Yeah,
and they only beat them 14-7. And Texas's defense, um, penalty, and then they hit one big play. And other than that, they didn't do much against Texas. So I think Ohio State, they have talent. We know that. We know they're going to be good. We know they're in contention, probably going to make the playoffs. But are they that great? I don't think they're as good as they were last year.
no.
After the Texas win, I thought, oh, they reloaded. The younger guys stepped up. They brought in a few portal guys. Hey, they reloaded. They're every bit as good. But I think the next team we're going to talk about, Oregon, may be the best team in the Big Ten and may be the best team in the country. Thoughts about Oregon?
Yeah, they're kind of flying under the radar a little bit. Nobody's talking about them, but they look pretty good. Gave up some late scores to Northwestern, but they've looked good so far. They got Penn State in 2 weeks, so
That will be a litmus test, but
yeah.
they're beating up on everybody pretty good. So I think
Yeah.
Oregon's really good. What about Penn State?
They've played absolutely nobody yet. Absolutely not even a lick of anybody yet. Um, didn't look great in their second game, but we'll just have to see when they play Oregon and Ohio State.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Any other teams you want to talk about?
We talked about Vanderbilt a little bit, but just
Yeah.
from them, I mean, you just look at the name Vanderbilt, and you're like, I mean, they're not going to be any good, right? Maybe in basketball, but I mean, it's just weird to see Vanderbilt good at football. Diego Pavia and Clark Lee, um, and Cedric Alexander is really good for them. So I think it'll be another test. I'm not sure what the spread will be or who's, whatever that will be, but I think Vanderbilt, could surprise some people this year. I think they're better than they were last year, and they beat us last year. So
I agree. But I think we're better than we were last year, and we've been humbled.
that's true.
The Florida State loss may be the biggest, um,
Wake up call.
yeah, biggest wake up call, biggest motivator, the humbling, and the guys know if they don't bring it every week, if they don't prepare every week, and our coaches too. I think it really humbled our coaches and got them to say we've got to do a better job week in and week out. So that's my belief. I hope they prove me right that that's the case. And I don't see how we can take anybody on our schedule other than what is it, Eastern Illinois? Other than
Mhm.
Eastern Illinois, how can we take any other team on our schedule lightly?
I don't think you can.
We got a gauntlet to run. I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun to see. But to me, we're in a battle for our playoff life every week. We have a very slim margin for error, so this team's got to be ready every week. If it was Saban coaching this team, I'd be pretty confident. But DeBoer's lack of being able to win multiple big road games in the SEC and his poor road record in the SEC's got me very concerned. He's got to break that trend because he's got to win three of those four road games. I'd like to see him win them all, but he's got to win three or four for sure, and then win all those home games. Then we can get where we want to go. But we're in a fight for our playoff life every week. But I like the trajectory of the team. The team has gotten better each week. We've seen great development after the Florida State game, and we can still get where we want to go. We got a very talented roster. All right, parting shots, final thoughts.
Yep, I liked what I saw this week. The big one, I think it'll be another good one. In Athens, we haven't played them in Athens and since I guess a decade now. Um, Always either play them here or in Atlanta. So it'll be a different atmosphere playing a true road game against Georgia, which we haven't seen in a while. So I'm excited.
Well, the one thing I'll think about that is that Florida State game. You were there. Did you feel like that was as rough of a home field advantage as we've had? Did you feel Florida State really had a true home field advantage there, and was that a hostile environment?
I mean, they don't have a very big stadium. I mean, there's definitely probably worse. Tennessee, LSU's, I mean, we played both of those places last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, it was, pretty hostile, but there's definitely worse than that.
Was it loud though? Did we have trouble hearing? And could
No,
you tell
no,
that?
no, I
Okay.
don't think that was the problem, really.
Well, we had a lot of problems that game,
Yeah.
but at least we have that experience that we've had a hostile road game, and the guys know they got to be on it and spot on. So I'm encouraged about that. All right, any other thoughts?
Nope, I don't think so. I think I got it all.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank you to each and every one of you who are listening. Subscribe, follow, like, hit the notify button wherever you access us. God bless and roll tide.
Roll Tide.